Hi friends, welcome back to another week of Wednesday Formation Fun. So great to be with you as we continue our journey along the fruits of the Spirit. I thought we could start with a quick recap as we talked about love the first week, and we used a strawberry to talk about love. We also have talked about joy, and we used an orange, thinking of its bright citrusy goodness and joy. We talked about peace, and we used the watermelon, thinking about the water that gushes in your mouth when you eat a watermelon. This week, we talk about patience. And with patience, we're using the pineapple. I don't know if you've ever tried to cut a pineapple without using one of those fancy gadgets, but it takes a little bit of patience. I will say though, if you're a pineapple lover like myself, it's definitely worth it. There's nothing like juicy pineapple, freshly cut, right? This week, as we talk about patience, where are you experiencing being patient? Perhaps it's waiting in a line somewhere, waiting on hold. Right now, I think there's a lot of patience being shared as we navigate the fluidity of scheduling with school and work and things that are open or closed. These things we may want to do but have to wait to do. This week, I want to encourage us to think about a different kind of patience, the patience with one another. We're going to explore that with a verse from Ephesians chapter 4, verse 2. It says, "Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love." Isn't that amazing, knowing that God loves us no matter what? We all will make mistakes, we will stumble, we'll fall, and God is right there loving us through all of it. How do we share that with one another? How do we share that grace, maybe as someone makes a mistake with us or in front of us or around us? Or how do we experience that with ourselves when we make mistakes? God's grace is something that we can share and are encouraged to share. And so this week, as we are talking about patience, maybe we be reminded of that trust in God to wait for these things that we want to do, or to wait for these people that we love and care about. This grace of God that we can share with all we meet, whether that be family, friends, or strangers. We get to encounter God in one another as we are patient, waiting. This week, the story that we uplift is about Abraham and Sarah, who spend a lot of time waiting and trusting God. And they do so with a cheerful and hopeful heart. And then you see their humanness as they struggle with waiting and being patient, as we all do. Let's see how the story comes about, shall we? Today we're going to be reading from the Jesus Storybook Bible. Years passed and things didn't get any better. People were still just as cruel and mean to one another. They still got sick and died. God's world was still full of tears. It was never meant to be like this. But God was getting ready to do something about it. He was going to make all the wrong things right, and he was going to do it through a family. "Abraham," God said, "how many stars are there?" God was about to tell his friend a wonderful secret. "Let me see," Abraham said, rolling up his sleeves. "But have you ever tried counting stars? Then you know how hard it is. 993, 994, 997. Uh-oh, no, wait. 1, 2... Of course he kept losing count. "Too many," he said. "Guess what?" God laughed. "I will give you so many children and grandchildren and great-grandchildren, you won't be able to count them either." Abraham couldn't help giggling at such a wonderful idea, but he stopped himself. How could he have a family? Don't be silly. He didn't have any children, let alone grandchildren. He wiped away a tear. Anyway, it was far too late for him to start having babies at his age. He was 99 years old. What could God mean? Abraham, God said, believe me. And then God told Abraham his secret rescue plan. Abraham, I will make your family very big, God promised, until one day your family will come to number more than even all the stars in the sky. Abraham looked up at the dark night sky, thick with stars. You will be my special family, my people, and through you everyone on earth will be blessed. It was an incredible promise. God was going to rescue the world through Abraham's family. One of his great-great-great-grandchildren would be the child, the promised one, the rescuer. But it's too wonderful, Abraham said. How can it be true? Is anything too good to be true? God asked. Is anything too wonderful for me? So Abraham trusted what God said more than what his eyes could see, and he believed. Now, when Abraham's wife Sarah heard God's promise, she just laughed to herself. But it wasn't a happy laugh. It had tears in it. She'd always wanted a baby. Could her dream come true? Could she really have a baby when she was 90 years old? No, of course not. Don't be silly. It was far too late. Sarah didn't believe God could do what he promised. She'd forgotten that when God says something, it's as good as done. Of course, it was easy for God to give her a baby son as it was for him to make all the stars in the sky. Sure enough, 9 months later, just as God has promised, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. They named him Isaac, which means son of laughter. And Sarah laughed, but this time it was a glorious, happy laugh. Her dream had come true. God would do as he promised. He would always look after Abraham's family, his special people. And one day, God would send another baby, a baby promised to a girl who didn't even have a husband. But this baby would bring laughter to the whole world. This baby would be everyone's dream come true. Do you know who that baby was? Jesus, right? And how we wait now and are patient in that wait, knowing and trusting God through all of that. This week, I invite you to check out the link below from our friends at The Littles and Me with some wonderful ideas of ways to explore patience, one of which includes writing a letter and asking to receive one back. Perhaps writing to a grandparent or a friend or a godparent and waiting for the return. Isn't that fun? Getting snail mail? I love it. This week, the fruit in action is to think of ways to practice being patient. Perhaps it's doing a puzzle together, or waiting for something to bake, or giving each other a little extra grace, whether that be with a friend, family, or stranger. Friends, it's always great to be with you. We look forward to gathering again next week as we continue exploring our fruit of the Spirit. Don't hesitate to reach out and connect, either at the Facebook page or email. Friends, blessings this week. May God's peace travel with you. May God's grace surround you and encourage you to be patient with yourself and with one another. Look forward to seeing you again next week. Take care. Bye.